Hello and welcome to the Isekai Survival Guide episode 2. I'm your Trash Isekai host, ISG, and today's episode is on different methods of transportation and summoning. Let's begin with the differences. Transportation is the method as to which you are sent to the other world, while summoning is the method as to which you arrive in that other world. You can be transported to another world, but you don't necessarily have to be summoned. It might not be immediately clear as to who or what summoned you, like Subaru in Re:Zero. It's also important to mention that these crossings to another world aren't always a one-way street, but most commonly are. With all that out of the way, let's start with transportation. First is the most popular and the most meme transportation method, truck-kun, but truck-kun is part of a larger transportation method, which is just dying. This is like the previously mentioned truck-kun in many anime and manga. All there is being stabbed in a public place, seen in that time I got reincarnated as a slime. This may also result in you turning to a dog for your favourite author. You can also have construction equipment fall on you. This also may result in you turning into a ghoul. Also, you can die from overwork or a plane crash, and literally just any death leads to another world. With this method to this world, there is a reason as to why you were gone. Next transportation method is magic circles. You just came home or you're walking along the street and a light appears below you. You freak out and before you know it, you're in another world. This most commonly leads to a summoning from a kingdom, but we'll get into that later. The magic circle is quick, and depending on whether other people see it or you're just by yourself, there's a difference between being missing or disappearing in front of people's eyes. The magic circle confirms that there will be magic in that other world, and that someone or something wanted you there. You can also be summoned for an individual, which could mean you can come back and forth to our world. Another popular one is reading a book in the library or reading your favourite manga or novel or the book you are writing. This always leads to you being transported into that book you are reading, so the more info you have on the book, the better. So to not lose any memory, write down all the info of the book you remember as soon as you can in the other world. This means as the story progresses, you won't forget important events, characters, and location. This leads on to the next method, playing a game. It's a bit more nuanced than before, but if it's a game you have played before and beaten, then like for books, write down all you remember, any hacks, cheats, or exploits. But you could be stuck in a game in different locations, stuck with everyone else, or in a world where every dispute is solved with games. Another method is portals. This could be out in the open with no frame, or a frame that matches the other world, or it could be in a door. If it has a unique frame, make note of it. What era or culture does it look like it came from? The portal could be opaque or clear. If you can clearly see where you'll be placed and can look around at your surroundings, like if there's a desert and there's a water bottle next to you, you'll regret not grabbing it. Also, a portal could mean you can come back and forth at will, and other worlders can come to our world. Next is a unique one. Online questionnaires or surveys, most notably in Outbreak Company, but also in some manga like Isekai Meikyu de Harumo. This is where you fill out a survey or questionnaire on your computer, and then as soon as you submit it, you fall asleep or straight away awake in another world. For Outbreak Company, it was for a job, but for some others, it's what the other world powers are. So it can be important to 1. Figure out what good cheat powers you can have. 2. Take every isekai quiz or survey seriously. 3. When you go to another world, remember all that you said in the questionnaire. The last method involves magical objects from old myths and legends to even other shows. These magical objects in our world that either grant wishes or move you around can end up transporting you to another world. In terms of wish being granted, what was the exact wish you had could be led to it being followed to the letter, which could be good or bad depending on how vague you were. In terms of non-wishing items, think of all the stories and folklore of the item and come up with its exact powers and why it transported you to another world. It's important to understand this in case there's a way to go home. So, that's all the transportation done. Now before we go into summoning, let's talk about gods. Gods or high dimensional beings can be slot in between transportation and summoning. In manga and anime, they are usually nice and give you a cheat, but sometimes they're bored and use you for entertainment or generally just screw you over. The most you can do is talk your way into a better reincarnation, or to get information on where you are going. But if they have mind reading, that falls apart. Now that's done, we can get on to the summoning. First is kingdom, personal, or ritualistic summoning circle. You'll often be in a room with people. If they're all wearing dark hoods, bad news. If some are wearing armor or a crown, better news. If you get summoned and there is only one person or a team and you're outside, get ready to fight straight away. Next, suddenly waking up in another world. This could be in a middle forest or a plain or just in a bed. If you're outside, it means you probably weren't someone before you were reincarnated. If you're outside, it means that the body you're in probably wasn't someone before you were reincarnated. But if you're in a bed, it means somebody had to get into that bed and pay for that bed, and you probably took over someone's body. So be careful of what you say and how you act as not arouse suspicion. Then we have being reborn as a baby. Make sure to act like a baby, and if you understand the language, pretend you don't and do some information gathering. If you don't know the language, I'll eventually do a video on learning languages from scratch. Then, if the body you're incarnated to either has a similar name or looks similar to you, you're body swapped, which for you is similar to waking up in another person's body, just that things might be similar to this world, but you need to think, what is the other world you doing in this world, unless you find out the other world you died in that world. Next, falling from the sky. This generally happens after meeting the god or high being. They let you go and boom, you're falling from the sky. This usually means that either the cheat/power you got will save you from the fall, or that the universe works in a way that it won't kill you. So while falling, you have the highest viewpoint, so use it to scout around for structures or water or smoke. And that should be it. If you have more information or thoughts on the topics discussed today, be sure to leave them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to remake the video if anything's wrong. In my next video, I'll go over general starting practices on information, money, and lowering your expectations. Hopefully you'll be able to stick around for it. Goodbye.